What's up everybody and welcome back. This is Skidude and yet another Mine-imator tutorial video today. There's something I actually wanted to show you that David pointed out to me that would have made my gun animation that much better. And that is the copying function of the keyframe things. So if you watch this, actually hold on, we need to go to our instances and turn on the second pistol. Okay, so if I press play, and it goes bop, 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 you know. Before, when I made this video, I made each little individual keyframe. Now let me show you something a lot cooler. So say I made, oops, delete. Let's say I made the first 6 of each one. So we're just going to go ahead and delete those ones. And let's say I want to keep, oh man, I gotta stop clicking things. Let's say I want to keep making it. So I just go like this, hold Control, click and drag, and voila, magic. Now, alright, oh my goodness, I need to do more, so I just add the copies that I just got, Control, click, and drag, and one more time, Control, click, and drag. So now, I've just made a long, fancy-dancy gun animation. And it looks consistent because it's the same 4 movements over and over again. So it looks fluid, it looks good, it's not jumpy. That's holding Control, clicking, and dragging. And you can do that, as you can see, with multiple different key timelines, or you can do it with one. So it works either way. So I could even, let's see, let's deselect selection. No, don't delete. Deselect, that's where it is. So let's say I pick this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. I hold Control, click and drag off of any one of these, and you can see it's on all 3 keyframes. So I'm actually not going to do it, but there you go. That's another quick tip for the day before we get on to adding items into the game. So now we're going to save this, and we're going to start a new animation. So as far as adding items into the game, it's pretty straightforward, just like the characters. You want to have your library tab open on the right hand side, and before we go any further, I always forget to do this at the beginning. Let's go with green today. Alright, actually that's kind of hard to see. Go with light blue? Oh, there we go, that's better. Alright, so we go to add, and we go down to item. Now I kind of showed this with the guns and in past videos. To add items, you want to always give it a name so that you can always distinguish which item you are animating. So we'll just go fishing pole. Okay, and then I would find the fishing pole down in here, which is right there, or right there without the string. Okay, looks good. And like I showed in the gun tutorial, if you've got your own custom fishing pole graphic, go ahead, click this drop down menu, browse, and find that .ping. It's pretty easy to do. And unclicking 3D image will make it float on the ground like you had just thrown it on the ground, and it rotates with the camera to give it that cool floating effect. And then down here at the bottom is, let's see, rotation point. So I can grab this little X thing. It's kind of hard to see because the background of the graph is green, but you can kind of start to move. You don't have to always go to the position menu in the keyframes to move your animations. You can actually do it when you first spawn it with this graph, and you can see it's a little white X. It's not the box, so it's a little hard to see, but look for the little white X and just click and drag it around. Click the oh, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Click the different coordinates you want to edit, and you can now up, down, back, forward, and then the X will move it side to side. So that's just a quick way if you just need to move it a little bit. But you can always go into the keyframe options to make it a more fine-tuned movement. So let's look at the options of an item. So if I click here, add a keyframe, you can now see all the options here. You've got position, rotation, scale, alpha, overlay, and transition. Position is just the same as the character. It brings up these little, brings up the 3D handles. And also pull rotation and move it around. So it's just the same as moving a character as far as rotation and position goes. Your scale, you can also, let's see if this thing only has one scale. Oh, it does. So if you want to keep the scaling simple where everything's in proportion, you just leave so it looks like what happened is when, this is just a quick note I never noticed before, when I move the movement in here, it kind of changes its orientation. So I'm just gonna go reset position, and now it'll be, I necessarily wouldn't mess with this one right here. I would always edit it in the keyframe settings. Let's go back to scale. You can see it's in proportion. Or if I go to unclick simple scaling, I can change the stretch proportion, the wide proportion, and the flatness proportion in different sliders. And with any one of these values here, you can always right click and do a manual input if you know exactly what you want to be doing. So we're going to go ahead and scale that back down. Now the alpha is the opacity of the image, or how visible it is. Now a cool trick like this, if you're trying to bring, like if there's somebody invisible and they're coming in, turn the opacity down to 0 on your first keyframe, turn it up to 100 on your second keyframe, and let's turn down the tempo just a smidgen. It will slowly reveal itself, so it's like a cloaked object coming into light. Let's go ahead and change that back, and that works on characters' body parts as well. The overlay is the color overlay, so let's go ahead and go pink. Okay, actually let's add this to the second keyframe because we want there to be change. So pink. I'm going to turn up the alpha to about there. So now if I go back to here and press play, it slowly turns pink. So I mean, you could do that with somebody's face as them getting mad, like in the old cartoons where their faces are turning red, you know, whatever you want to do. And transition is the same as it is with characters as far as movement goes. If you need to figure out what the different transitions are, watch my running, walking, flying animation tutorial video, and I go over the transitions there. So yeah, that's items. Let's actually go over parenting them to an object one more time. I know that's always a popular feature, so we're going to go ahead and add Steve here. And we're going to give him a keyframe down here so that we can start editing him. Always put the first keyframe at 0, that's his resting state. And let's go ahead and move him out of the spawn area. Now this fishing pole is a lot bigger, but that's okay. So let's close this by clicking OK or the X in the top here. Let's go down to instances, which will hopefully be in the next tutorial video on how exactly to use this. But as far as parenting an object to a character, click fishing pole, click lock to parent, click character 1. If I had given him a name, it would have shown that name. Body part, let's go with the right arm. Now it spawns very high above, which isn't a problem because we just go down to this keyframe. The first one, oh, that's the character to the fishing pole. Let's pull up the rotation menu. Let's see, the blue one is the Z, so let's go ahead and change that to -90. And a little update, David will be releasing a new 0.5.2 beta version tomorrow, Sunday. And one good hotfix is these rotation handles will swivel with the object. So the blue will always be the one that does it side to side. The yellow will always be the one that does that movement, and the red will always be the one that does that movement. So for example, had I turned this, the red one would now be in the position of the yellow one, and the yellow one would be in the position of the red one. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but in the next patch, it will make more sense, and I'll show you guys what I mean. So let's go ahead and bring this fishing pole down. Let's pull it forward. We're going to tilt it forward with the red one. Okay, let's bring it back up, and let's bring it back. That's way too high in his arm. So let's bring it down so it's like halfway through his hand. Alright, so that saves its position. Now, if you parent an object where it is already in play, it's already got multiple keyframes, it doesn't update down the timeline. So as you can see here, it's not parented, it's not in his hand anymore. So what you're going to want to do is either redo the parent. Let's see if we need to do that in the instances. No, it's still parented. Let's actually test something here. Let's add a keyframe for Mr. Steve right here. And let's move his right arm. Yeah, so you can see it's still parented to his arm, but it's just not in the right position. So what you can do here is actually click this keyframe, open up the position, let's go copy, select this keyframe, and let's go paste. Now it's not rotated correctly, but we can just go ahead and I could go through and copy all the rotation things here, but let's say, I don't want to redo that. I just want it to have exactly how it is. We can use that new trick we learned. We can delete that one, control drag this one out, and voila, it's in the same position. The fishing pole is, at least. His arm is not, because we can move that. So now if we grab his arm, rotate that up so that he's going to make a cast, we can see it stays with his hand. So that control click feature is going to save you a lot of trouble as far as just copying things and doing stuff like that. So yeah, that's parenting items. Now let's hurry and go back. So there's the X if you want to close the keyframe options, or you can just click OK. Let's go back to the library and let's add a block. Now the blocks is a big upgrade from beta 0.3. Let's give the block a name. Let's call it water. Water. Okay. Type is block. Let's keep it a block. Block now brings a menu here where you can just find the block you need. And water, I believe. Actually, I don't know if you can spawn in a water block. And I don't know what number. Actually, I want to show you guys something real quick. Let's find the. I figured out what this data slider was. One of my subscribers figured it out the same day I did, that David explained it to me. So let's go to white wool here. If I change the data value, Minecraft has certain data values for certain blocks. So as an example, the torches, wool. So right here, if I change the data value, it's now changing what color of wool it is. So that's a quick way to change your wool. So let's actually just make the wool block, the one we were using, and we can go ahead and change the name at any time to white wool. Click OK. And like I showed in the new features video, you can use HD texture pings now. So if I were to go, let's see, where is mine at? Let's see, desktop, random images, textures. Let's open up terrain, open, and now you've got Sphax PureBD Craft 64 times wool graphic and any other block I actually wanted to bring in. And you can do that. I did it up to a 128 by 128 image, but just like in Minecraft, it is running a bigger image and bigger graphics, so you can get some input lag if your system cannot handle what's going on. So just be aware of that. I'm actually just going to use the default terrain. Now, items or blocks will show up on the timeline, but you're not necessarily going to have a white wool block flying around. But just like with all the other items, you can rotate it, you can use the position to move it. All the same options are here. You can use the scale to make it bigger, alpha, change the opacity, color overlay. Let's go ahead and add pink again, turn up the alpha. So And if you want to make a different color of wool that's not in Minecraft, you can pick the color, turn the alpha up to about 36%, and there you go, you got pink wool. And then the transition, as always, linear, instant, ease in and out. Another quick thing, this applies to all items, is the visible and lock to parent thing up here. The visible is, so if I click this first keyframe here on the white wool down here and I click visible, you see it shades it out right here. That means the object will not be visible until the next keyframe visible is marked, which is this one. I can move this as far as I want, as close as I want, and it will just decide when the block, item, or character becomes visible. And David explained these check marks to me yesterday. I will go over those in another video as well, probably the instance video. Anyway, let's move on to, actually we're going to save schematics for its own video because I am going to show you how to import them from MC Edit as well. Now lights can also be a manual object. You can see here it spawned this little light bulb, and let's go ahead and do this real quick. Let's go down to our background, let's make it nighttime. You can see, you can see the light is working like a torch would. It's kind of cool. So if I were to go back up to this light, let's click on this light, you can give it a name, light. Oh, we'll just name it light. It was light 1, but we're going to name it light. And it does add a keyframe down in here. So we can actually parent the light to an object. So let's click on light, let's click lock to parent, and let's click fishing pole. Now you can see it's parented to the fishing pole, and we just need to move it into a better place. So let's click the keyframe down here. Position, let's bring it up. It's a little hard to see. Okay, and let's bring it forward. Now it looks like this is not the smoothest movement. So that's something I'll point out to David. But anyway, let's say I lock it in the position right there. I can click on this drop down menu as well. Light, the strength. You can turn it up all the way, turn it down, turn it up, and change the color to red. Now it's a red light. And the transition, as always, moving. So now, if I go back to Mr. Fishing Pole, you can see, actually let's just move Steve. Oops, delete. Let's move Monsieur Steve down here, jump to camera. You can see the light comes with him because it's parented to the fishing pole. So let's actually move him way down here, jump to camera. Alright, now let's play this. So you can see the light moving with him, and it's a lot smoother than beta 0.3 when I made my torch animation, so I'll probably have to remake that. But you can see the light moves with the parented object. So you can work it as a torch, you can work it anything, you know, glowing eyes, whatever you want to do, and it'll have a really cool effect. So that is the items, blocks, and I guess the lights tutorial. I'll probably go in depth on the lights in a later tutorial as far as using those to your best advantage, and messing with the background lights here. As you can see, I made it at night. Anyway, this is Ski-Doo. Thanks for watching, guys. As far as a lot of you are getting render problems where it's not letting you pick the codec. I've talked to David about it. We're kind of trying to figure it out. And I guess the question I have for you guys is, what operating system are you using? Are you using Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows Vista? And if you're using it on the Mac and you've kind of used, I don't remember the program you can use to use it on the Mac, but you could have compatibility problems running it on the Mac like that. So leave in the comments below what operating system you're using if you're getting that codec problem where it's not letting you fix it, and that will help try to troubleshoot your problems. Sorry, I can't always fix your problems. I am also learning the program, and you guys are just finding all these random bugs that I apparently am not. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you've got a specific problem, go ahead and post it in the comments. I will try my hardest to make a video that answers that problem. and or fix it for you. So spread the word about Mine-imator, rate, subscribe, thumbs up my channel, and thanks as always for watching, guys. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.